It's August the 3rd. It's almost chilly this morning, 14 degrees, and cloudy. I didn't do my walk along the creek on Monday, so I'm going to do that today. And away we go. Then when I get back, editing. It's an editing job I have to do somebody's novel, which I'm behind on, so I'll work on that. There's blue sky up there, so the sun might come out before we get back. We'll just go as normal up to the creek here. I think this will be a very ordinary creek walk. I'm not going to stretch it out or anything. Just get back. Our dryer has died. I have somebody coming at 10 to look at it. I suspect it's unfixable. It's probably a board. And at least one appliance guy told me that the boards weren't available anymore for this 15-year-old Kenmore. So that may mean we're going to have to buy a new dryer. Yay. Also, getting it in and out of the basement is always fun in our house. I did complete a fairly major edits thing yesterday. Next novel for... it's not a novel. Next book that Shadowpaw Press is publishing is called The Crow Who Tampered with Time. It's a collection of essays by Lloyd Ratzlaff. And I finished that editing and created the page proofs for it, so that has gone to him to look after, and I suspect that book will be out beginning of September, somewhere along in there. Another title in Shadowpaw Press Reprises lineup. At the end of the year, I'll be giving my first royalties for the things in Reprise, which will be probably disappointing to people involved because I got royalties yesterday on my poetry book. $7.48, I think it was. And I've had similar amounts on books over the years. Sometimes it's more. I mean, you get, especially if you sell to a big publisher, there's usually an advance of a few $1,000s. It can be a lot more than that if you happen to be a best-selling author, which I'm not. Unfortunately, although you who are watching this, go buy my books on Amazon or in a bookstore, and you could help make me a best-selling author. There's 470 subscribers now, I think, to this channel. If you all bought a book, well, it would help. It would make me a bestseller. But if you bought 5 books each, 100 books each to share with your friends, then I'd be a bestseller. How easy is that? You can do it. Go forth. Buy my books. Tell them Ed sent you. Everything is so lush. Normally by August it's starting to look kind of green. It still looks like spring. Spring green everywhere. It's also been a pain for us because, as I mentioned, we're getting a deck built in the backyard. It should be done by now. They haven't really started building it. We have the piles in, and there's also a small extension we're building, and the concrete foundation is in for that, but we're a long way from where we thought we'd be by this point in the summer. Follow the gravel road. Follow the gravel road. Follow the gravel road. There's that garden down there, which is looking lush and green as well. And I'm actually feeling little drops just from that little puffy cloud that's right over my head. There's blue sky up there where the weather comes from, but a little tiny cloud overhead is managing to spit at me as I walk by. Try not to take it personally. There's the footbridge coming up, of course, that we will cross. Got dramatic skies this morning. Blue sky is not quite smiling at me. A little patch of blue sky is all I see. And a blue outhouse. That's all the work they've been doing down there. Oh, I think they've got the pipes underground again. They're not running along the side of the road. Is that what I'm seeing? Still don't know exactly what they've been doing. Replacing the mains, I guess. Over the creek we go. And we all know what that means. It means we stop and look this way where there are ducks making attractive V-shaped wakes in the water. Well, one anyway. So that's looking east. And that's looking west this morning. Good morning, Brandon. Comes a dog. There's always a dog. So anyway, I've winnowed down my editing tasks now to just one, which is a bit overdue, but I will try to complete that by the end of this week. And then I maybe can finally turn my attention to a few other things that need turning attention to. There's a course I've been taking on book marketing that I haven't touched now for weeks, that I need to finish. And there are always publishing things to work on. And of course there's my YA novel, which I'll get back to now that I've finished rewriting my middle grade novel. Waiting to see what the publisher thinks of the rewrite. I have high hopes. Probably too wet in the grass to take the little path down closer to the water, so I won't do that. Could go over by the Waterfall Park this morning. Maybe I'll do that just to be different this morning. This is Waterfall Park. There's the waterfall. It's the name of the park. There's a little bridge. I always stop and look both ways along the bridge, but there's not much of a creek here. It just flows out of the waterfall pond down here, and then, oops, mosquito, eventually ends up in the creek. I'm sure the water for the waterfall comes directly from the creek too, so it's just pumped over the waterfall and then sent on its merry way. Alright, so we'll go up this way and then walk along the road today on this side of the various ball diamonds. Another look at the park. This is Elphinstone. Strip mall over there. Condos there. Over here is playground and ball diamonds. Normally I walk on the other side of all this. Today we'll walk here along Elphinstone. I think of those as new, but I guess it's been many years now they've been there. A couple for sale, it looks like. If you're on this side, you'd have a nice view. The other side, not so much. On this side, you'd be looking out over the creek and onto Wascana Park and the lake. So especially from the top floor up there, you'd have quite a lovely view. I mean, we're not talking Banff level views, but pleasant nonetheless. Here comes a dog. There was one behind me. Now there's one in front of me. So there's the ball diamonds again. Everything is so lush. Much greener than it normally is this time of year. Some dramatic sky there, looking in that direction. I can feel heat in the sun. It's not supposed to get very hot today though, 24 I think. You have to take my word for it, it's not always this green in August. It'd be green, but there'd be more hint of dryness and things than we're seeing right now. And of course in 6 weeks we could have frost, so hopefully a little longer, 7 weeks. Somewhere in there will be first frost. Could even happen in August if it's a bad year for that. And before you know it, everything will be brown and the leaves will be yellow and then they'll fall off the trees. Then it'll snow. And we'll be back into that as I continue to walk. As I did last winter. Okie dokie. Here we will press the light. As we rejoin the creek path. More dogs, pair of them this time. Match set, it looks like. That's Sherman Park. Also wearing a black shirt, which makes a difference, picking up heat from the sun. A white shirt is cooler, there's no question. And a green shirt seems to be the hottest of all. I guess because it's not reflecting any of the infrared or something. I don't know if it's hotter than black, but in my experience, a green shirt feels hotter than a black shirt. Another footbridge is our next landmark. You can see it over there through the trees.
Lovely, lovely.
Nothing more to say. Except here comes the footbridge. Here comes the footbridge. Water in the court. Here comes the footbridge. Okay, that goes all the way back to Rowan and Martin's Laugh in. That's how old that is. Here comes the judge. Here comes the judge. Water in the courtroom. Here comes the judge. Mosquito trap. That's what that is, hanging on the tree. Or insect trap anyway, but I think it's primarily for mosquito counts. I think that's what that is. Okay, another look at the creek. Last footbridge will be on the north side of the creek now for the rest of the walk. Looking to the east. And looking to the west. Hear pigeons cooing under the bridge. And we carry on now along the winding path, a long and winding road that leads to Pasco Street. It's the next part of our walk. So what happened with tomorrow's walk? I'll probably be downtown, but I might also be at our condo, which is a very short walk to downtown. Wouldn't be any point in live streaming it, so I'll have to build in a longer walk somewhere. I'll probably be in the downtown vicinity. Dudney Avenue again or something like that. Because of our dryer being broken, tomorrow I'm going to have to take wet clothes over, like wash them here probably tonight, and then take the wet clothes over to the dryer at the condo tomorrow to dry them. It depends on if my wife is working there or not. She likes to work there. That's her working at home thing, actually, is our condo we used to live in, we still own, away from the office during the pandemic. So it's been very useful. It's also my morning. My audiobook narration studio is in the closet there. I haven't done that recently. I've got books I want to narrate. Again, time. Must be 3 of me to try to get everything done that I want to get done. 20 minutes to here, 21 minutes. Good to know. This is the map of the pathway. I've walked many parts of it, but not all of it. If you follow the whole thing, you can't do it in one day. It's too many kilometers. Well, it'd be a very long day. I suspect you could do it in like 8 hours. If you're walking at 5 kilometers an hour for 8 hours, 40 kilometers, I think that's about how long it is, if I remember right. That would be a long day. With no built-in brakes if you're going to keep up 5 kilometers an hour. I do know people who sort of plan it out and do the whole thing in chunks, which I could do, but haven't yet. For some reason the gimbal wants to point over to the side. Let's straighten it out here properly. That's better. Around another totally non-essential curve. There's often a puddle down here after heavy rain, but we haven't had enough rain for that in the last couple of days. There was a heavy rain, but it was short-lived on the weekend. A couple of them. But when we had the inch or two of rain a while back, there was a puddle here. You can see the water standing on either side of it. And as I often comment, they are mosquito breeding zones, and they have sprayed this site with whatever it is they use to keep the mosquitoes from reproducing. A lot of blue sky coming now over there in the west. The baseball diamond. This is always very wet in this grass. And in the spring, when the snow melted, the path up here was flooded because the creek was high enough it overflowed up here at this low point. And also, well, even after that big rain, the walkway under the bridge up here was underwater. Had to go up and over instead of under the bridge. Not going under the bridge today, though, I don't think. Just going to do the normal, shorter walk so I can get back home and get some work done before the dryer repair guy shows up to tell me that he can't repair the dryer and we'll have to buy a new one, which is what I expect to happen for a $100 fee. Duck. Quack, quack. See, popular place because there's basically a path right down to the water there. In fact, in the wintertime, I walked out on the ice right about there a couple of times. Okie dokie, we're going up this way. That's interesting. This path, which is normally kind of worn down by feet and everything, is actually overgrown. Might be a function of all the rain too. Okay, this is Pasco Street. See some canoes over there that they use for school programs on the creek. There's Saskatchewan Express. Well, those are apartments, but then the low black thing that looks like a school, because it used to be a school, is Saskatchewan Express Performing Arts Company and School. I don't know if they've got a touring troupe this summer or not. I haven't really heard anything about it, so they may not. There goes a runner. And here comes a runner. Before I started doing this, so it's coming up on 3 years ago now, 2018. 4 years ago. No, 2019 I was doing it. I would come out and jog this path that I'm walking now, but my knees complained and I decided to stick to walking. And then I started the live streaming in spring of 2020. Spring of 21. So I guess in spring of 20 I was jogging. In spring of 21 I started live streaming the walks. And I haven't stopped since. Although it's typically only about 5 days a week now. When I started for about 180 days I didn't miss a day, but I find I want to take a day off here and there to do other things. Also this summer, as I mentioned, I don't have a car during the day because my daughter uses one and my wife uses the other, so unless I make special arrangements, I don't have a car, which means I can't go very far afield to walk. So in the fall, Alice goes back to university on the 24th. Then I'll have a car again, and I can start using it on my way out to the country club, which I'd like to do, but haven't really done this year because no car. And I would often stop somewhere along the way, so that at least that spread out my walks a little bit more, including out to Syast. No, sorry, Sask Polytechnique, it's called now. Saskatchewan Polytechnic, they don't put the French name on it. Which I've walked around a couple of times. Usually get interest on that from viewers who are planning to come and attend Saskatchewan Polytechnic. I want to know what it looks like. Now, either I have to walk out into the street, there's a car coming, or I have to go around this way, so I guess I'll go around this way. They put in a new drive there, but it's not quite complete. There's an awfully big hole you wouldn't want to drive over just yet. And this path would take me down to the path I was already on, but I'm not taking it this time. Don't walk into the sign. Street, which I've walked when I do those walks out to the community garden. It's very lovely this morning. And most mornings. We have an extreme climate. Very, very cold in the winter, quite hot in the summer. So you can get a range from, minus 40 Celsius to plus 40 Celsius in a single year. But that also means that there are many happy medium, like today. And then you can have some of the prettiest days of all. I like the fall when it's, a bit cooler than this maybe. Maybe a little nip to the air, but the leaves are changing, the sun's shining. I like that. It cut across the grass, but again, it's probably wet from dew. Get my feet wet. It's a soccer/football field here. During the very brief time that we tried Alice in soccer, when she was quite little, I remember going to at least one game here. She and her friend were more interested in looking at stuff in the grass than they were chasing that silly ball. And I didn't really like sitting out, and so it was never really going to take off for us, and sure enough it didn't. She ended up in dance, which I always expected her to go into. Figure skating briefly, but she couldn't do both. So she did a couple of years of skating and enjoyed it, and kind of regrets she didn't do more of it. But you can't do everything, even as a kid. Even less as an adult. Oop. Somebody said hello. Biocodex. Thank you. I assume you're talking about me as the author, who is a wonderful storyteller. Perhaps you're watching from the beginning, where I talked about my books. I don't actually know how the comments work. If somebody starts watching the live stream back from the beginning and comments back there, it probably shows up here where I am in the present as opposed to in the past, I assume, but I don't really know. Playground. I don't remember there being a batter's or a baseball net on the other side of the playground there. But surely it's always been there, and I'm just now noticing it. Coming up on the Neo-Balkwell Civic Arts Center, home to the small art gallery, but it's the city art gallery. Owned building. You can take art classes there. Forget the beaver over there. I think that was a centennial project. There's that smell that instantly makes me think of the prairie. It's something to do with a particular plant. When it's cut, you can smell it. I don't actually know what the plant is. Childhood days growing up and playing on the prairies. Balkwell Center. And there's a seniors activity center up here. That's the next thing we're going. Right up here. Go AGR Art Gallery of Regina. Even says art on the side of the building there. Don't walk into the post while doing that. This is just a shed. Probably where the lawnmowers are kept. And this over here is the little seniors activity center. Heck, I'm practically old enough to go to those things, except I'm like my dad. He used to go and, lead or teach music or something at the seniors activity center in Weyburn when he was older than I am now. He was definitely a senior citizen officially, but he always said he didn't want to hang out there. It was full of old people. That's kind of how I feel. I'm not a senior citizen yet. Well, for some standards I am. 50 plus. Some places you get a discount starting at 50, which I think is silly. Even 55 I think is silly. I'm going to have to pause here for a moment so I can... I'm back.